What is Saudi Arabia hiding underground? Picture one of the driest deserts on Earth, scorching heat, cracked earth, and a thirst that never ends. Now imagine millions of gallons of water being pumped beneath that desert's surface. Why would a nation so desperate for water bury it underground, away from its people? This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's real. Saudi Arabia, once strangled by constant water shortages, is now doing the unthinkable, building vast underground water systems. Not natural rivers, but something even more astonishing: invisible networks of survival beneath the sand. So why go underground? The answer is part desperation, part genius. Leaving water on the surface in such heat would mean near instant evaporation. But underground it can be stored, moved, and preserved. What looks like madness from above may actually be a masterstroke of modern engineering. Saudi Arabia has zero natural rivers, not one. No freshwater lakes either. Yet somehow they've managed to create a functioning river system where nature gave them nothing. It's not magic, it's pure innovation. Since 2021, the country has built over 500 dams. These aren't just walls holding water. They're intricate systems that gather rare rain, trap flash floods, and channel the precious supply through pipelines and treatment centers. It's a man-made miracle born out of necessity. In a place where the sky barely weeps, turning each drop into lifeblood has become an obsession. Through these artificial channels, Saudi Arabia has taken control of what little nature gives and multiplied its impact through one of the most advanced water management systems ever created. Picture this: 522 dams. That's how many Saudi Arabia has quietly built, transforming barren landscapes into potential oases. These structures aren't just about storage. They represent resilience, foresight, and an unrelenting fight against a brutal climate. Most of these dams collect seasonal floodwaters from wadis, dry riverbeds that only awaken when rare storms sweep across the land. The water once captured is treated and rerouted to support cities, agriculture, and local ecosystems. But it's not just quantity, it's capacity. Together, these dams can store up to 650 billion gallons of water. That's not just engineering, that's survival strategy on a national scale. And as climate change makes water even scarcer, these structures might be the kingdom's most valuable lifeline. In a country where summer temperatures soar past 122 degrees Fahrenheit, water left on the surface doesn't stand a chance. It evaporates almost instantly. So Saudi Arabia made a bold move: hide it underground. Evaporation isn't just a minor nuisance here. It's a national crisis. If rain does fall, it vanishes in hours. The solution? Capture it immediately and store it deep beneath the surface before the sun can steal it. This strategy may seem extreme, but in a place where nature works against survival, there's no choice. Keeping water hidden from the sun isn't just smart, it's essential. It's how a desert becomes livable. Saudi Arabia doesn't have rivers in the traditional sense, but it does have wadis. These ancient, dry channels lie dormant for most of the year, waiting for a miracle rain to briefly roar to life. When that rare moment comes, these ghost rivers suddenly pulse with muddy torrents surging across the land. But instead of letting that water vanish, Saudi engineers have learned to trap it, control it, and make it work for the future. Through an intricate network of catchments and diversion systems, wadis are now part of the nation's hidden water map. They're no longer just historical scars in the land. They've become active players in the battle for survival. How Saudi Arabia stores water in the desert? Imagine 650 billion gallons of water, not in tanks, not in rivers, but stored beneath the blazing sands of Saudi Arabia. That's the total capacity of the nation's dam network, silently holding on to the desert's most precious resource. These reservoirs don't just catch water, they protect it from the merciless heat. Each gallon captured is a gallon preserved, away from the sun's reach, ready to support a growing population in parched farmlands. This isn't just water management, it's long-term survival planning. In one of Earth's harshest climates, water isn't a resource, it's a currency. And Saudi Arabia is building a vault beneath the sand, 14 kilometers east of Kayed in the Mecca province rises the Hali Dam, a structure so massive it ranks as the second largest in the kingdom. Built between 2003 and 2009, it's more than concrete and steel, it's a lifeline. With a reservoir capacity of nearly 250 million cubic meters, the Hali Dam plays multiple roles. It controls floods, supports irrigation, replenishes groundwater, and supplies local communities with drinking water. In a region where rain is a rare gift and the sun is relentless, the Hali Dam is a monument to human determination. It doesn't just hold back water, it holds back disaster. But how dams recharge the future? One of the least visible, but most powerful roles of Saudi dams is recharging the aquifers hidden beneath the desert. When floodwater is captured, it's not just stored, it's pushed underground, feeding ancient water systems. This slow infiltration mimics what nature once did thousands of years ago, when the Arabian Peninsula was green and rivers flowed. Now, engineering is reviving that process, drop by drop from above. These underground deposits, quiet, unseen, and essential, are slowly becoming Saudi Arabia's second chance at water security. It's not just about storing for today, but quietly preparing for tomorrow. Beneath Saudi Arabia lies a hidden sea, not of oil but of water. Geological surveys estimate around 26 trillion gallons of groundwater stored in deep aquifers, remnants from a time when the desert was lush and fertile. This water isn't recent, it's fossil water, ancient, trapped beneath layers of rock and sand for thousands, even millions of years. It dates back to when the Arabian Peninsula had rivers and regular rainfall. Today, modern pumps tap into these vast reserves, channeling the ancient water into homes, fields, and cities. But there's a catch. Once this fossil water is gone, it's gone for good. At first glance, 26 trillion gallons of groundwater sounds limitless, but it's not. Only a tiny fraction, around 739 billion gallons per year, is renewable. The rest, a one-time gift from the past. Saudi Arabia consumes far more than it can naturally replace. While rainfall adds a trickle, the majority of extraction comes from those ancient reserves. Every drop used pushes the clock forward on a resource that won't return. It's a silent countdown. The fossil water may have lasted for millennia underground, but at current consumption rates, it may only last decades above it. Fossil water sounds like a miracle, ancient, clean, and abundant. But unlike renewable sources, it doesn't refill. Once extracted, it's permanently lost, and Saudi Arabia is drawing from it faster than ever. It's like living off a bank account with no income. The balance may look massive now, but every pump, every faucet, every field draws it closer to zero. There's no rainfall miracle waiting to recharge these ancient reserves. This isn't just a technical issue, it's existential. Without a backup plan, once the fossil aquifers run dry, so does the future of life across much of the kingdom. Saudi Arabia's water consumption is staggering. Drinking, sanitation, agriculture, industry, even luxury uses like parks and car washes devour billions of gallons each day. But where does it all come from? The renewable supply doesn't even cover half of the national demand. Fossil water bridges the gap, but at a terrible cost. Once it's gone, there's no turning back. And rainfall? Unpredictable at best, non-existent at worst. The math doesn't lie. The country is over-withdrawing from a finite supply. And every year that goes by without a sustainable solution, the pressure grows, both underground and politically. It's one thing to use water for survival, it's another to use it for aesthetics. Saudi Arabia is a place where grass grows in deserts, golf courses sparkle in the sun, and water fountains decorate five-star hotels. This luxury comes at a steep price. Massive volumes of precious water are diverted for non-essential purposes, even as deeper aquifers shrink. It's a paradox. Green oases in a land that should be bone dry. While the visuals are impressive, the long-term cost is hidden. Every lawn mowed in the desert is another gallon that might never return. The real question is, can this model survive the future? Faced with mounting pressure, Saudi Arabia turned to what was once unthinkable: wastewater. Across the country, 99 treatment plants operate daily, reclaiming over 1.3 billion gallons of water per day. This recycled water is used for agriculture, industry, and even recharging groundwater supplies. It's not glamorous, but it's effective and growing. Forecasts suggest a 4% annual increase in treated water through 2050. Still, it's not enough to close the water gap. Reuse is smart, but with demand rising and aquifers falling, the kingdom needs more than efficiency. It needs a revolution. Desperation sparks invention. In Riyadh, decision makers look beyond the land and toward the sea. If nature wouldn't deliver fresh water, maybe they could build their own delivery system from scratch. And so the idea was born. Pump millions of gallons of water from the Red Sea and send it beneath the desert, not across it. The concept? A man-made river, invisible, underground, unstoppable. This wasn't just an engineering challenge. It was a statement. Saudi Arabia was done waiting for rain. If water wouldn't come to them, they'd build a river to bring it home. What if you could build a river, not above ground, but buried beneath sand and rock? That's exactly what Saudi Arabia did, stretching an astounding 8,700 miles. This pipeline network is longer than the Nile, the longest natural river on Earth. But this isn't just a pipeline, it's a lifeline. It transports desalinated water from the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf deep into the heart of the kingdom, to cities, industries, and farms that would otherwise wither. It's not visible from above, no boats, no banks. But beneath the desert, a river flows, engineered by necessity, powered by vision, and sustained by sheer will. Why hiding the water was a masterstroke? Why bury a water network instead of building canals? The answer is survival. Underground, the water is shielded from the brutal sun, insulated from heat, and protected from contamination. Evaporation in Saudi Arabia is relentless. Surface water is lost almost as fast as it arrives. By running pipes underground, the kingdom preserves every precious drop and maintains consistent pressure across vast distances. It's a strategy born of logic, not luxury. And in a place where the margin between life and death can be measured in millimeters of water, logic wins every time. Building a pipeline through the open desert is one thing, but carving it through the Hijaz Mountains, dense with granite and limestone, is another level of engineering warfare. Crews deployed massive tunnel-boring machines and even controlled explosions to cut through solid rock. Each meter was a battle against nature itself. The challenge? Lay pipes over 2 meters wide with precision, stability, and no margin for error. This wasn't just construction, it was conquest. A silent conquest of rock, heat, and time, driven by the knowledge that what lay at the end of the tunnel was survival. Try laying steel pipelines in 122 degrees Fahrenheit heat, with sandstorms raging and dunes shifting beneath your feet. That's what Saudi workers faced during the construction of the underground river. To survive, crews worked at night or during the early dawn hours. But even then, the challenges were extreme. Dust clogged machinery, sudden floods halted operations, and the very ground shifted beneath their progress. Despite it all, they pressed on, because every mile built meant another city saved. Every trench dug was a promise that, in this desert, life could still flourish. It's one thing to pump seawater inland. It's another to make it drinkable. Enter desalination, the process that transforms ocean water into something humans can actually use. Saudi Arabia didn't invent desalination, but it mastered it. With over 40 facilities operating along its coast, the kingdom is now the global leader in turning saltwater into life-giving freshwater. But there's a twist. Desalination is expensive, energy-hungry, and environmentally risky. Still, for a nation with more sea than rain, it's the only way forward. And they've committed to mastering the cost. Desalination may quench the nation's thirst, but it doesn't come cheap. The process consumes vast amounts of energy, often from fossil fuels, and leaves behind a dangerous byproduct, brine. Brine is saltier than the sea, and when dumped back into oceans, it disrupts marine ecosystems. The fish die, the coral bleaches, and the balance shifts. Saudi Arabia must now navigate the high cost of life-saving water without destroying the life around it. This is the hidden cost of survival. The country walks a tightrope between innovation and environmental degradation, and the world is watching closely. Along Saudi Arabia's eastern coast stands a marvel. Ras Al Khair, the largest desalination plant on Earth. It cost a staggering $7.2 billion to build and pumps out 792 million gallons of fresh water every single day. This single facility can support millions: residents, factories, farms. It's a symbol of the country's industrial muscle and its desperation to secure water for generations to come. And it's not alone. Dozens more dot the coastline, including in Jubail, which produces 211 million gallons per day. Together, they form a chain of salvation and a monument to how far humans will go for a glass of water. Saudi Arabia isn't just fighting for water, it's fighting the desert itself. With its green initiative, the kingdom has pledged to plant 10 billion trees and reclaim 30% of its land from desertification. This isn't just about aesthetics. Trees cool the air, trap dust, restore soil, and act as barriers against sandstorms. In a country where temperatures can soar past 120 degrees Fahrenheit, even a 4-degree drop in heat is a game changer. The initiative is one of the world's largest environmental restoration projects. It's not just about survival, it's about reshaping identity, from barren to green, from reactive to regenerative. The scale of Saudi Arabia's environmental effort is staggering. 184 million acres are targeted for transformation, from lifeless desert into vibrant ecosystems. Pilot projects are already showing results. Satellite images reveal patches of green where only sand once stretched. Cities like Riyadh and Neom are embedding green infrastructure into their design, mixing tech with nature. This isn't just reforestation, it's reinvention. The kingdom is building a future where water isn't just stored and used, but celebrated, where deserts are no longer symbols of limitation, but of transformation. Saudi Arabia's war with water is far from over. But for a land once written off by nature, the progress is nothing short of revolutionary. From invisible rivers beneath the sand to forests rising from the dust, the kingdom is rewriting the rules of what's possible in one of the harshest places on Earth. It's not just about technology or survival, it's about legacy. Because in the end, the true miracle isn't that water now flows in the desert. It's that vision, willpower, and daring ambition made it happen.